What's going on, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. Another absolutely embarrassing performance by the New York Jets, losing to the Carolina Panthers 13-6. Aaron Glenn's comments after the game just absolutely insulting to the intelligence of all Jet fans, trying to say that he still has hope with this team because of the way we practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Like we haven't been the practice champions of football the last 10 years. Yet we come out every single Sunday and we look lifeless. We look unprepared. The offense can't move the football. We haven't scored a touchdown in the first half since the first game of the year. We have one takeaway on the entire year. Another 6 sacks for Carolina today, a team that normally doesn't get a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback. We still can't pick up a blitz. So whatever we're doing in practice on the offensive line, it's not working. Quarterbacks are going backwards. Tyrod, 2 picks. Justin Fields looked absolutely awful before finally getting benched, which amazingly, it was a terrible, irresponsible question for the media to ask why Justin Fields should or shouldn't get benched last week. But now Aaron Glenn actually does it this week. Very interesting there. Also, I thought it was very interesting how at the end of the first half, we once again had a chance to use a timeout before the clock hit 0 and throw up a Hail Mary from our 45-yard line. So it would have been a 55-yard throw, easily something that Justin Fields can do. Instead, Aaron Glenn just lets the clock wind down. And he did this last week, and he fucking did it again. It makes absolutely no sense. It was actually even worse this week, considering the fact that we had the timeout that we could have used, and it was only 3rd down. It wasn't 4th down. So all they had to do was literally just call a timeout and throw a Hail Mary up. After the game, he says, we took back-to-back sacks, so we just wanted to get out of there and get to the half. That is such a fucking loser mentality to have. And the fact that he even said during the week, if he could go back last week and do it differently, he would have did it different. Now today, he has the chance to do it differently, and he fucking does the exact same thing he did last week. It is chicken shit. It's chicken shit. And I don't even care about him pulling John Simpson off the field, yelling at him on the sideline. Like, who cares? That's his 4th personal foul. He finally decides to hold him accountable. He's back in the game next series anyway. Commits another penalty like 2 series later. It doesn't make any fucking difference. His word is not getting through to the players. They are not being coached properly. We have no identity. There's still no accountability here. Like, what are we watching? What are we doing? What are we hoping for with Aaron Glenn? What is the future here? No matter how much he might progress the rest of this year, is it really going to be enough for you to have confidence in him to draft and develop a quarterback? Not only to draft the right quarterback, but then to actually develop them when he just looked the Hall of Fame quarterback in his eyes this offseason and said, thanks, no thanks, we're going to go to Justin Fields, and was brash and bold about it with the media sticking his chest out after week 1? How's it fucking working now? Everything about this team absolutely disgusts me. We had Garrett Wilson out today. Breece Hall gets banged up. Sauce Gardner, a concussion. I would not have any issue. If you want to completely unload and do a full-on teardown, I'm fine with it. At this point, I'm fine with it. We know Aaron Glenn and Muji are going to use these guys as their scapegoats, ultimately saying, this wasn't our roster, these weren't our players, this wasn't our core. But you know what? You brought in Stevens, you brought in Cisco, you made the change at quarterback, so a lot of these guys are your guys, and the guys that were here were playing a lot better under the previous regime. Fucking embarrassing. I feel so bad for the fans that actually went out to this game, many of whom had no choice. If you bought your season tickets before the year, and I was saying during the stream, you cannot rationalize or justify being a season ticket holder anymore. Tickets are going for pennies on the dollar for what you would pay up front to buy all the games, when instead, if you actually do want to go out to a game just because it's fun to hang out with friends, family, if that's what you want to do, you know what? Do it. Get your tickets like an hour before the game. Go have fun, tailgate. Buy your tickets on StubHub an hour before the game. You'll pay pennies on the dollar instead of giving the Jets your money up front to sit and watch this fucking garbage. I feel bad for anyone that was out there today. 13-6 against the Panthers. And I don't even know if anybody asked this to Aaron Glenn. I didn't hear it. I know there were some audio issues with Aaron Glenn in the postgame. How did nobody ask him, if they didn't, about the decision to punt on 4th down with 2 minutes left in the game? I know some people in the chat during the stream were justifying it because the Jets had all 3 timeouts. My theory was that, 1, your defense doesn't stop anybody when it matters anyway. But 2, even if they did get a 3 and out, you're using all 3 timeouts to get the football back, and they're still going to be punting from about the 50-yard line. So you're going to have to go 90 yards in about a minute 15, a minute and 20 with no timeouts, instead of just trying to convert on a 4th and 10. And of course, we don't touch the football again after that. And the fact that he came from the Dan Campbell school, which he reminds us about all the time, Parcells and Campbell, he coaches nothing like them at all. Our teams look nothing like those teams at all. From an energy standpoint, from a game planning standpoint, play calling standpoint, what we do on fourth downs, they're an embarrassment from top to bottom. We always say we've hit rock bottom and it can't get any worse. I can't imagine how things can get worse from here. Aaron Glenn is proving that he cannot be held responsible, or he shouldn't be given the responsibility, I should say, of drafting a quarterback and trying to develop them next year. We're 0-7 and going backwards week after week after week. There is no way that you can say that you have faith, like I was saying before, one, in Glenn to draft the right quarterback if we are going to go quarterback in the draft, but then two, to actually develop that quarterback. And so why bring in a new quarterback to a regime and a head coach that is already on the hot seat, that couldn't resurrect the guy that they wanted to this year? Like, I can't believe this is where we're at 7 games into the year. 0-7, only winless team in all of football. 1 takeaway on defense. We got 15 sacks in the last 2 weeks. Tyrod's not the answer. And I'll be real again, like I said it before the stream started, I'm fine with being a loser for the Hoosier. Sign me up for Mendoza. Meaningless wins this year are not going to do anything. Signing up for another long-term rebuild is not going to do anything for me. You know, if Aaron Glenn goes the Adam Gase path and we finish 6-2 at the end of the year, not going to do anything for me. Unless there is serious, tangible progress, we're just spinning our wheels here, and it's not going to translate to next year. The number 1 pick gives you the best chance at the best quarterback, which then in turn gives you the best chance at the best head coach. Let's not forget the exact same conversations that we were having 5 years ago during 2020. This was the exact same conversation. Go watch any stream from 2020, any post-game show that we did, any reaction videos that we did, anything from 2020, you will hear this exact same conversation. The number 1 pick is your best ticket to the best quarterback, which is then your best ticket to getting the best head coach in here. So, you want to rip me for rooting for losses in October? I really don't care. We're 0-7. We're not going to the playoffs. And so unless you think winning 3 or 4 games is somehow going to be the turning point in Aaron Glenn's tenure as a Jet, I would fully rather just rip the Band-Aid off and start fresh next year and let a real head coach, whoever that might be, whether it's Gruden or McCarthy, somebody proven, somebody established, somebody with some credibility, let them come in here with draft picks and players that you could either trade, or if you think you can get more out of them, which this coaching staff has not done, you could do that too. But I am not trusting Aaron Glenn or Muji with any major decisions involving this roster or bringing in a quarterback. And until we have a quarterback, it's hard to picture this team ever coming close to winning anything serious. So that is step number 1. But I'm just completely... I don't even want to say demoralized or angry, because like I'm past the point of getting like genuinely upset, because this team just is what it is. But deep down, obviously, you want to see things turn around for the long term, to be able to have a sustained winner. And I have zero excitement levels about, just finishing up the year strong and showing improvement, or anything that would involve not making the playoffs. Basically, at this point, we've wasted and thrown away so many seasons as fans. Think about how many games, and I posted this stat at some point last year, but think about over the last 15 years of not making the playoffs and all the years that we knew were finished in October. Think about, as a season ticket holder, how many games you've paid for full price where you either didn't even want to go or you couldn't even give away your tickets. Think about how many games that's been the case for over the last 15 years. Because you already have, 4 more games right now as a season ticket holder? Possibly 5, I forget exactly. But it's just such a shame what this organization has become. And literally every single quote that Aaron Glenn tried to give us in the offseason about this team's identity and accountability and culture and being a team that the fans could be proud of, literally every single word that he spoke, what we're seeing on the field is the opposite of that. This is an uninspiring team. This is an unlikable team. They're not well coached. They justify mistakes. They justify losing. This is as bad as it gets. Enjoy the rest of your football Sunday.